From the basement of La Penta, this is WICR.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Sports Vault. Jersey Joe and Big Shot Rob back in studio again on the break. No one else here, so it's kind of nice, Rob. I like it. No one's here to bother us. We can just focus on getting the show done, and we've got the excellent matchups this weekend for the NFC and the AFC Championship games. Rob, I'm sorry, I gotta brag a little bit before we start. On August 27th, we had the first episode of the year, and on that day, we did our predictions for what the Super Bowl was going to be. I had Pat Seahawks, said it on the air, and it seems like my pick is going to be very well close to coming true. Rob, what do you say?
That's awesome to get that pick right there.
I appreciate that, Rob.
That's great.
I don't like to brag a lot, but you got to throw it out there a little bit. So let's start off with the Packers and the Seahawks. That'll be the first game at 3:05. Interesting game here. I mean, I think last week, just a great game between the Cowboys and the Packers. Really, that controversial call, but at the end of the day, I mean, you got to kind of move on from that. Aaron Rodgers, I just thought played phenomenally well. I mean, one of the great, just gutsy performances I've ever seen. Really enjoyed that performance, but it's going to be a good game, and I think, though, the Seahawks at home, Rob, I just don't like picking against them.
Yeah, I can't pick against them either. The only way Green Bay is going to win this game, Joe, is you have to protect Aaron Rodgers that whole game, especially with his calf injury, Joe. We've seen what Seattle can do. They can get off to slow starts, and that second half they will be on top of you. They are a crazy team. Cam Chancellor, the Legion of Boom, is on fire right now.
Playing phenomenal.
Unstoppable. You got to be careful where you're throwing. You can never pick against Seattle in Seattle. They are the most dangerous team out there. I like Green Bay, though, also in this game. You want to know why? Because Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers looked so smart last week. He was able to lure defenses, and he just made some smart plays down the stretch. But I'm sticking with Seattle for this one also.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Seattle's anywhere near as good as they were last year. I mean, defensively, they're really picking it up now. They've been such a good fourth quarter team. I mean, you watch them the last couple weeks in the fourth quarter. They just take it to another level. They wear you down, and they just go for the kill in the fourth quarter. But, I mean, you can't argue with Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas are just such ball hawks. I mean, these guys just live around the football, always making plays. You can't get enough of them. I think they win this game, too. I just think the way Rodgers is right now, not at full strength, I just don't see how he's going to go in there and beat them. But I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl with this team offensively. Now, I love Russell Wilson. He's one of my favorite young quarterbacks in the game. I think he's such a smart, mature young guy. He throws the ball well. He's the perfect fit for that offense. Marshawn Lynch as well. But I don't think they have enough playmakers on off and the receiving wise. I mean, Jermaine Kearse, Doug Baldwin, come on. These aren't guys who I think you can get it done against and win it all.
Yeah, it's not like last year, Joe, where they had that balance where you could go into Golden Tate or Percy Harvin. They don't have that type of balance. That's the only thing that's going to kill Seattle. You're right, straight from the start. Marshawn Lynch, great running back. Russell Wilson is a smart quarterback, does not make stupid choices, but they need to get more balance with wide receivers. They let Golden Tate go to Detroit this year, trade away Harvin, and that could actually affect their Super Bowl potential to win.
I really think so. I mean, you can have as good a defense as you want, but if we do have a potential, which when we get to the next game of a New England, you're really going to need to put up some points. And like I said, Russell Wilson, Lynch, the combination works, but at the end of the day, you've got to have big playmakers. And I just think Baldwin, Kearse, good guys, but these aren't great big action guys who are going to make huge dynamic plays. I think that's an interesting there. So let's go to the next game, the Colts and the Packers. That's our 641. Going to be an excellent matchup. Now, for people who listen to the show regularly, everyone knows I'm a fanatic. I love Andrew Luck. He's my favorite quarterback. He's my favorite player in the league right now. I'm amazed at what he's able to do with this roster, because when you look at this roster, it's garbage. This is by far the worst roster of all playoff teams. I mean, the fact that he's brought this team this far in the playoffs in 3 years, I mean, brought them to the playoffs all 3 times. It's all their credit is because of Andrew Luck. I mean, he's just that amazing. Look at them offensively. I mean, look at his weapons he has. T.Y. Hilton, Reggie Wayne is past his prime, old. I mean, we look at the way things have gone with Trent Richardson, disaster. I mean, the guy doesn't have a lot of help defensively. What playmakers is there? I mean, they just don't have pieces. They don't have a lot of good personnel, which just makes it even more impressive to me of what he's done in his first 3 years.
Yeah, Joe, he is an amazing quarterback. Now, when you look at Andrew Luck with the weapons he has, it's not like when Peyton Manning was in Indianapolis where he had Marvin Harrison,
Reggie Wayne right
there, Adai. It's not that kind of weapons. Andrew Luck is single-handedly carrying this team. The guy is a gunslinger, amazing arm. Faring off this week versus New England, I'm picking with them. I'm going with Andrew Luck.
Wow, you're going with the Colts?
I am going with Andrew Luck. He has the confidence, and he is going to win this one.
See, and that's the only reason why I think they'll be in this game is because of Andrew Luck, but I just don't trust their defense. I mean, I look at the last 2 times these two teams played each other. They played in Week 7. Pats beat them 42-20. Defense showed no signs at all of being able to come out with any stops. Then again, you go back to their game last year when they played in the divisional round. Pats won 43-22. So I just don't think that this defense has the ability to stop New England's offense. Now, they're playing better in the playoffs. Definitely much better than I thought they were going to. The last 2 weeks, they've stepped it up a little bit. I mean, Vontae Davis is by far the best playmaker they have on defense. DeQuell Jackson is there every once in a while. But overall, I just don't think they've found a way to stop Brady. Now, when Luck's in the game, you always have a chance because that's how good he is. He's just so dynamic at making play. He can beat you anyway. I mean, he does throw interceptions every once in a while, but the thing I love about him is it doesn't phase him. I mean, you see some guys where it just totally deflates their energy. Andrew Luck's just a guy, he goes, he looks at what he did, he knows what he did wrong instantly, and he just goes out and fixes it. I just can't get enough. It's going to be an excellent matchup. So you're going with the Colts, though, Rob. You trust the defense in this game?
I'm actually going to trust the defense in this one, Joe. And my reason why is when we look back at what they did versus Denver last week, the Colts said they played the way Seattle did in the Super Bowl. They were able to control Denver's wide receivers, and I have a feeling that Indianapolis is going to be able to find a way to control the biggest person in the lineup for the Patriots, Rob Gronkowski, because if you're able to shut him down, you could shut this team down, because we saw last week when they played Baltimore, they were held to 7 yards rushing, and that's nothing spectacular out of this New England team.
No, it is not, and that's one thing you look at is I think the
14 yards, my bad, I'm sorry.
The reason I picked the Patriots to win the Super Bowl this year and get there was because I thought this is the best Patriots defense in 4 years probably, but they haven't been all that impressive in the playoffs so far. Really haven't. I mean, you look at their last game against the Ravens. Ravens had they couldn't stop them. They really couldn't.
Yeah, and with New England, this isn't going to happen like last week where you're down by 14 twice in the game. That doesn't happen now. This is the AFC Championship, and now you got to control the game from the start if you want to win this one.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's just going to be a great game. Tom Brady going up against Andrew Luck. I mean, you can't get a better matchup than this. I think it's going to be an excellent game, but I like your confidence, Rob. I hope that I'm wrong in this case because it would be excellent. I mean, if Andrew Luck, just think, do you think there's another quarterback who could have taken this roster currently to the AFC Championship in the league?
I would say only Peyton Manning, maybe, or Tom Brady. That's about it.
I'm with you. I don't think that there's another quarterback. I mean, look, we all understand that these quarterbacks, these special ones, elevate anybody. I mean, the reason T.Y. Hilton puts up the numbers he does, looks the way he does, is because of Andrew Luck. And it's just amazing because he doesn't have a lot of talent. I mean, Hakeem Nicks was basically I mean, you couldn't even tell he was on the football field sometimes this year. Been a little bit better in the playoffs, but overall, what are you surrounding this guy with? I mean, it's amazing to me. And it's the thing I worry about with the Colts sometimes. I think sometimes, look, I compare it all the time to LeBron James when he was with the Cavs the first time around. I think they were just so starstruck by how good he was, and it fooled them that they were so good when really he just covered up so many of their weaknesses. Look at that. I mean, we say it all the time. Look at that Cavs roster that made it to the finals against the Spurs. The worst roster in NBA Finals history. I think it's the same case here. I think the Colts sometimes are just so starstruck by how good Andrew Luck is, and I think he just covers up so many of their weaknesses. Like I say, I mean, this is turning into the Andrew Luck, I Love Andrew Luck fan club radio hour, but I mean, you've got to just be amazed by what the guy does. He's incredible.
Yeah, he's purely amazing, and it's just amazing what one man could do, how from a couple years ago, Joe, when they were 2-14 to when he came, 3 straight years in the playoffs. Guy's just been amazing. Now, my biggest question for you this week going into the playoffs, T.Y. Hilton versus Darrelle Revis. What do you think of the matchup?
I don't know. It's an interesting matchup because Hilton's a guy who doesn't have much size. Love his speed, but doesn't have the size. I think that might hurt him a little bit in this matchup. I mean, Revis definitely looked a little bit. I mean, that's the thing is, it's not the same Darrelle Revis.
Yeah,
it definitely. I mean, he's still very good, one of the best, but he's definitely lost a step. You saw even in that game last week, Steve Smith burned him a couple times for some nice catches. So I'm not as terrified. Like vintage Revis, I was terrified. He could shut down any receiver. He could shut down Andre Johnson. He could shut down Reggie Wayne. He could shut down Calvin Johnson. No one else could do the type of things he could do when he was healthy in that prime state. So, I mean, you've always got to be a little bit afraid, but I think it's a bit of a coin flip because the one thing I'm worried about, though, is if you do take away T.Y. Hilton, what else has Andrew Luck got?
Yeah, I mean, you got Reggie Wayne, Joe, but the problem is he's dealing with groin issues at the moment.
It's the same thing with him. You could just see it in him. He's just not right. It's just not. I mean, he's lost a step with age as well, and I just think he's probably a little playing hurt right now too. And Hakeem Nicks is the guy who's going to have to step up, and it drives me crazy because, I mean, watching him with the Giants for so long, this is a heck of a football player. This is a guy who can play. I mean, he's got explosive speed. He's got great hands. This is a guy who can step up. I think the Colts, for some weird reason, early in the season, seemed to never send him down the field. Always seemed to be playing him very close for little pickups. So I think you got to send him down the field. Let him make the big plays. Should be fun. So let's recap it a little bit, Rob. You've got Colts, Seahawks advancing to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with the pick, Patriots, Seahawks. So, interesting. We both have Seahawks. You're going with the Colts, which I like. I love the confidence. I don't know. I mean, last year we also had it right. We had Patriots. We had Broncos. We had Seahawks. Hopefully, the Super Bowl will turn out a little bit better. I mean, because for people who don't know, I always pick the team I think's going to win, and I get that jersey. Last year, picked wrong. Had the Broncos. So that Peyton Manning jersey has been sitting in my closet now since last year's Super Bowl. Haven't even taken the tags off. Just as a reminder to me, you better get it right this time. So with that state, I'm not going to go against the New England Patriots. I don't know how I feel about having another Tom Brady jersey in there, but I just got to go with my gut here, Rob.
As a Jet fan, you're not allowed to bring any Tom Brady Super Bowl jerseys.
I will not wear it around you. I promise. I will not wear. I don't think I've worn a Patriots jersey out of respect to Big Shot Rob since I've been to Iona. So I will wear it away from him. But you will see it. I'm just really going to enjoy the games this weekend. What have you thought of the playoffs so far, Rob? I mean, good games to you?
Yeah, it's been good. Last week I thought the divisional round was excellent.
Yes, definitely better than the first. The first round matchups I thought were okay. Last week, the Ravens game, the Cowboys-Packers game, I thought those definitely made up for it.
Definitely. The Ravens game, I said a couple weeks ago when they were going to play them versus the Patriots, I said, you know what? This is the game. This is the game of the week, the playoff game that everybody's going to love. And Joe Flacco, Tom Brady knows when he plays the Ravens, he's in for a tough run. And Joe Flacco gave him a hell of a run in that game.
Really did. And that's the thing, like, let's talk about this for a minute because that's the thing that always drives me crazy about the Eli Manning and the Joe Flacco type guys. Like, I could put them in the same boat because they're fantastic quarterbacks. In the playoffs, they're money, Eli and Joe Flacco. They just take their game to another level. But it's the regular season things that drive you crazy. When you're that good and that clutch in the biggest stage and in the playoffs, in the regular season sometimes, these guys just drive you crazy with how they just look terrible sometimes. I can't figure it out sometimes, Rob.
Yeah, Joe, it's as if that hunger is not there to, like, come playoff time. That's one thing I really don't understand, how some quarterbacks, like we look even with the Jets with Mark Sanchez, Joe, he struggled his first 2 years regular season, then playoffs was tremendous quarterback. Eli Manning's another guy like that. And it just makes you wonder, why can't you do that regular season around? It's not that bad. In the regular season around, it's kind of easier. You're not having all these other players you're playing against in the playoffs who are all hungry. I'm lost.
I'm with you. I mean, I don't know. Had to bring the Mark Sanchez in there. But I will say, Rob, going back to that point, another reason I think Tom Brady probably wins this year is who's not in the playoffs this year, Rob? The New York Giants.
New York Giants.
The only team Tom Terrific and Bill Belichick can't seem to figure out. So it's going to be two excellent matchups. As always, the Super Bowl will be fantastic. We will be ready for the matchup. You've got our picks. Glad we could come in and do them. Rob, thanks for joining me today again.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
This is Jersey Joe and Big Shot Rob signing off. Everyone enjoy the games this weekend.